Hi.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, not much.
I don't know if my video is on or not.
Currently, it is not.
Is there something I should do about that, or you don't want it on?
If you want it on really badly, you just got to tap your own picture, click the camera, and then click save.
Oh, save. I see that. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, I'll do this later.
I talked to you last week.
Yep, I remember.
Hey, how come when you save the little clips, it doesn't show? It's just audio for my profile.
Um, I don't know what you mean.
I saw my face on that screenshot thing. I don't have TikTok. I just downloaded it just to talk to you, man.
I don't
So I'm
know.
not
I'm not sure what
sure.
it looks like on your end.
Okay, I guess it'll just be audio if you save the clip. Anyway, thanks for saving our a few of our clips last time. I appreciate that.
No problem.
So I just had a few questions I wanted to pose to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, I just kind of wanted to get your take on why you think there's such a big movement with the flat Earth and kind of like a resurgence, because I know it kind of happened in the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s. Why do you think there's such a huge surge in movement? People feel so passionately about it, and you have endless people to talk to about it.
Um, I mean, I think a lot of it is just kind of the way the internet works.
Hmm.
So people that don't have strong opinions don't go on the internet to voice their neutral opinions. That's just not what happens. And
Hmm.
so, how strong is the flat earth movement? I'm not sure if it's any stronger than it was 10 or 20 or 100 years ago, but they
Hmm.
definitely are able to, they can now be heard in much more effectively. Kind of like how the printing press democratized ordinary people instead of the only people you really heard about were those that were in power or those that were putting on plays, I suppose, or very few extremely famous ancient persons, right? I think the
Hmm.
internet just democratizes free speech better, and but again, people that just think in neutral things that aren't super extreme don't get a lot of airwaves.
So they got to be passionate about it
I mean, that's part of it,
for the
but
most.
also algorithms are geared towards sensationalized stuff. So you get this thing called an availability heuristic, which is where people overestimate the significance of something just based on how easy it is to recall.
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah, because there's an app. Flat Earth Dave, I'm sure. Flat Earth Dave
Yeah,
Weiss.
I've
He's
heard
got
of
an
him.
app.
Yeah.
He does interviews like every day on this. He does debates and all stuff, all kinds of stuff. He's got an app called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Stars and Zodiac Clock app or something. Yeah, it has
Yeah,
a
I've heard of
friend
it.
finder on there. There's millions of people on that app. Incredible.
I mean, I would download the app just because I think it's funny. I haven't, but that doesn't make a user a flat earther.
Yeah, right. I was also thinking about something else that's interesting.
What's that?
I was thinking that it was kind of a revelation actually today because I was like, well, I don't think you're going to have to debate us much longer or even talk to us, or we might just cease to exist altogether because, I mean, it's got to be in the next 10 or 20 years that anyone can afford, maybe expensive plane ticket price to go to space. So you got to
Um,
think that would cut a
Maybe.
lot of flat earth. I mean, I would definitely eat crow and think that I was totally misled and fooled this whole time. That I have passionately believed that the Earth is not a spinning ball. Definitely, because if I could just buy a ticket, it would be over for me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, possibly.
When do you give that by? The
Oh,
time
I have no idea. I mean, it
the
actually
time that,
sounds like a dumb, it actually just kind of sounds like a dumb idea and not super safe. So,
well, they're
I
starting
don't
the industry now, right? It's
Yeah, I
starting
know,
now.
but I mean, we had supersonic flights. We had Concorde, but it did not last very long because people didn't actually want to tolerate it. And it just, I mean, there were some technological things that Concorde was plagued by. The space thing, I don't know. It's hard to see that it becomes the kind of thing that somebody who is merely a doctor could start to afford anytime soon. So
Well, I
I
mean,
really
that's
have no idea.
for my friends and I, that's probably definitely the ultimate thing that we would want to do, I think, for most of my friends and family too.
I don't know how bad I would want to do it. It does sound pretty
No?
awesome.
Right? I mean, can you think of many things much better?
I don't know.
I can't. I went skydiving a couple times,
Oh, I've
and
never
I can
done
tell
that.
you, I would much rather go to space than go skydiving. It's not even close, you know.
Yeah. So
So,
why would you even do it though if you don't believe them?
oh, because I want to be proven wrong or proven right.
Oh, huh, okay.
That's it, man. I just want to put this to bed already.
Sounds
And
good.
I'm the kind of person who needs to go and actually physically, for something like this, for such a humongous claim like where you live, like I don't have to go to India or Australia to know it exists, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But for something this massive, I mean, man, I got to see it for myself. I mean, this is an extraordinary claim, you know? These speeds and these measurements and the size and you know, just all the different motions and just violence and the vacuum, everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
those are some humongous claims. I mean, for a club of about maybe 500 to 1,000 people out of 7 billion to have ever been there, you know, that's, if you were to tell me that that there's only been a thousand people skydiving, I probably wouldn't believe it till I actually went. That if it was, if you told me that skydiving was a possible thing that could happen, I'm not sure I would believe it till I went. So I went and did that. I'm not saying I didn't believe it, but I mean, when do you think that? How much longer? It's been like I think 60 years. I think 1958 or 59 was the first time humans went to space.
How long?
Do you believe that? Do you
I
believe
don't
that
have
they're
an answer
trying
as to when it's
to,
going to
to
start
have
become
commercial
popular commercially. I have
or
no
like
answer. I don't know.
possible? I'm saying just possible
Well, it's already
commercially.
possible. I mean, they sent Blue Origin and Tesla sent
But there was
people up
nowhere to
there.
buy the tickets from.
Well, they selected who they wanted to go. Dude
Yeah, so that's
Perfect
not really
went.
commercial, right?
I mean, like, didn't Dude Perfect go? I mean, he filmed the whole thing.
But I can't go. I have the money.
Um, right. I guess they didn't want it to be a lottery. They wanted to pick certain people. Picking what's his name? Captain Kirk. What's his real name? I can't remember.
Oh, William Shatner.
Yeah, that was just kind of a gimmick, but it's also kind of cute, I guess, at the same time. Um, but anyways, so what do you want to talk about? Because I don't. The idea of going into space commercially one day is just, I don't know, and it's kind of boring.
But you have to believe that if it's a real thing, then it's going to happen sooner or later, right?
I mean, maybe not
Why
everything's
wouldn't it
been
though? If there's
commercialized.
such a demand, I mean, such a demand, almost everyone
Some
I've ever talked to, you don't think there's a demand to go on a touristic flight to space?
people thinking it would be really cool isn't the same thing as people actually willing to do it.
I mean, people are willing to do just about anything these days, you know?
Well, sometimes it seems like it.
It does, because almost every single person I've ever talked to in my life, and that's, thousands of people, they'd all love to go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what do you want to talk about?
So I just wanted to get kind of a feel for when you think, like, what would be your cutoff to where you would start to question anything like that?
I
Like, what year you think? Like, where anyone could just buy a ticket?
I have no idea, but whether or not we commercially send people up into space isn't going to have any strong bearing on what shape I think the planet is, because you don't need to go to space to demonstrate what the shape of Earth is. It's not even hard to do.
Well, I guess I'm different because for me, I have to see something for myself. Something that big of a claim,
Yeah,
like seeing the
you
Earth
can
as a
do
ball
the
from space. I'd have
you
to.
can do the tests yourself. They're really not hard to do.
Yeah, but you're not really experiencing it.
Yeah, you are.
I don't think so.
It's super easy to do actually. Like where I live, there are mountains, right? And the mountains are to the east of me. So that means when the sun sets to the west, sorry, I'm peeling this sticker off. So this doesn't
Oh, that's
happen all
okay.
the time because the air is really bad where I live. I live in California as well. But what you can see is sometimes when the sun sets, the mountains, there's a shadow on the mountains, right?
Hmm.
But the thing is, the shadow starts at the bottom of the mountains and then goes to the top. That's physically impossible if the mountains are here and the sun is always up and then just going this way. But if there's a curvature to the earth and the mountains are over here and the sun goes below the curvature of the earth, which is what a sunset is, then it will cast that shadow, but it'll cast the shadow on the bottom part of the mountain first and then move towards the top. I mean, there's just nothing on a, like with a flat earth model that can explain how that's even possible. Well, you can experimentally prove gravity by doing like a Cavendish experiment, or by testing the acceleration of gravity across different like altitudes on our planet, and you can find that it's totally consistent. And the fact that there's absolutely no other offered hypothesis that even like remotely adequately explains anything. But no, the shape of the Earth, whether or not gravity exists, isn't even important to figuring out what the shape of the Earth is. I mean, Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of Earth with pretty good accuracy 2,000 years before the modern scientific, well, it's not really the modern scientific idea anymore because of general relativity, but before the first modern description of gravity.
I mean, the Earth could be round or circular, definitely, but I don't think that proves that it's a sphere, especially not spinning. I'd have to kind of see that for myself. I feel like, because it's just such an extraordinary claim that, I mean, I don't think our senses would ever lead us just if we were born on some desert island. You'd never come up with this stuff. You'd never come up
Uh,
with 66,600 miles an hour moving through the solar system. I mean, you'd never come up with spinning 1,000 miles around an axis. You know,
well, yeah,
you'd
you'd
never come
obviously
up with.
never just come up with it. Those numbers
Yeah,
are those values were calculated based off of observations.
or were they just told to you by people who you think are smarter than you?
You can assume that they're just told to you, which in the spirit of science, we assume skepticism, and so scientific claims are repeated and validated by other groups, and that's been done so many times.
I mean, these are quite serious claims here. I mean, flying through infinite space at 66,000 miles an hour, the whole solar system moving at 500,000 miles an hour around the center of the Milky Way. I mean, these are humongous claims, man. Because I
Sure.
don't feel anything. I don't see
Well,
any
of course you
curve.
don't, but we talked about that last time.
I don't see any curve. I never have. I just want to see it once,
Yeah, you have. You've seen the sunset.
I've seen the sun go away from me out of my visual perspective range. I've seen
That's
it
not what
take
the
its
sun
light
does when it
away.
sets.
That's what it looks like to me. It looks like it's just taking its light away
No, it
and it's
doesn't.
getting smaller
That
on
is
down the
not what it
range.
looks like to you.
That's totally what it looks like to me. I don't
No,
feel
it's
like I'm back
not.
flipping over at a thousand
Something,
miles an hour. I don't feel like I'm
something
flipping over
just,
backwards.
okay. Does the sun go like this until it gets smaller and smaller and you cannot see it anymore? Or does it do this?
That's exactly what it looks like. That's exactly what it would look like when it's going out of your range of perception, out of your range of vision, your field of vision.
You're mad. Okay.
No, because streetlights do the same thing, bro,
No, they
from a
don't.
distance. Sure they do. If
No,
you're looking down a
streetlights
road,
actually get smaller and then you
yeah,
can't
but then they
see
go
them
away. That's
anymore.
exactly what the sun does.
The sun does this. This is not tell me when this gets smaller.
But if you had a big enough horizon, you could do that going that way and it would still go down.
What does that
It
mean?
would still go down because
What
you
does
just
that
can't
mean?
see it anymore through the atmosphere.
But that's not what happens. The sun doesn't
That's
do
what it looks like
this
to me.
until it gets so small that you can't see it. It does this.
That's because the horizon is so big.
That the size of the horizon is irrelevant. If the sun is above the ground at all times, then as it retreats away from you, it's just going to get smaller until it becomes like if I took a okay.
I think it's an optical illusion, man. That's what I think. I think you
No, you don't think
because
that.
really we're just we're spinning backwards actually. The sun's not even supposed to be moving, really. We're supposed to be spinning backwards on the ball, really.
There's no
You know.
such thing as spinning backwards. What does that mean?
We're tilting away from it.
Uh, sh- okay, I see what you mean there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
But as
tilting
we do
away from
that,
it.
there's a curvature to the Earth. So eventually you spin so much that, oh, look, I'm going below
No,
the
I'm saying
horizon.
that's what science is saying. I'm not saying we're actually doing that. I'm saying that's what science is saying. Mainstream
You can
science.
go outside and see it yourself. You live by the ocean.
I see it getting so far away that you just can't see it anymore.
No, that's not what you see.
I've seen it many times. Yeah.
No, you haven't. You've never
Of
seen
course
that.
I have.
You
Yeah.
see
You can
this
even see
happening.
videos of that.
No, there are no videos of that.
Oh, yes, there are.
You see
Oh,
this
yes, there are.
happening.
There's plenty of videos of the sun just moving away down a down range.
No,
Plenty of
there
them
aren't. There are
moving
none.
down range. Yeah, there are. There are. Anyone can go look that up right now. It's easy.
The sun
There's
does
many videos showing
this.
the sun going down range and out of sight. Many.
Have you seen the sun do this?
I've seen it appear to do that.
But it does. How can it appear to do that
It
and
doesn't
not be
always
doing that?
do that
Yes, it
because it's an
does. What
optical
are you
illusion.
what are you talking
It's
about?
an optical illusion.
It's it's
I've
not.
seen many times where the sun goes down range and out of sight.
No, you haven't. So
Okay, you can look it up.
since you
Anyone
live
can look
by
it up.
the okay, so let's talk about the horizon. So
Okay.
if Earth were flat, then what we would have is the the surface just extends forever. And because you live on the ocean, that's like the flattest kind of surface we can have, and it goes on for tens of thousands of miles, or thousands of miles at least. So if that were the case, and you and I both know that the atmosphere slowly makes things fuzzier the more atmosphere you're looking through,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it then that, because I've been to the ocean too, why is it then that the horizon actually wouldn't be visible? It would slowly obscure, like when there's fog, you can't say, oh, right there is the point where I can't see any farther. It's so gradual that there is no point. So the problem is at the ocean, the horizon is this extremely sharp line, which only makes sense if what's happening is this. It's curved and we're looking at it
You were
this way.
talking about, but here's the thing: it looks totally different if it's going behind the ocean or if it's going if you're on land. It's totally different, you
Yes, we
know.
should pick the ocean because that's a flat surface.
But that goes so far that it just goes out of range anyway.
But it doesn't go out of
Because it does,
range.
it's so
It
much bigger
does this.
than any other land that you would see it going by.
It
Because
does
it goes, you know.
this. Here's another
I know it looks like
here's
it's doing
another
that.
really awkward thing. You do know that the sun sets later if you're on a tall building and somebody else is on the ground. The person in the tall building will see the sunset after the other person.
Mm-hmm.
That makes perfect sense if we have a curve, because the person in the tall building can see over more of the curve, but it makes zero sense if the Earth is flat.
Well, I can tell you, before we move on to something else, that there are videos, many of them. You can say no, but right after we're done, you can just look them up and pull them up and show people that there's plenty of videos that show the sun going out of your field of vision downrange and taking all its light with it. There's plenty of them. There just are. I mean,
And there are plenty of videos showing it do just this.
I know, but I'm just saying, what do you attribute that to
The
when it's
curvature of the
literally
Earth.
just going down a range? You know, it
Nothing
looks
that goes
bizarre. It's totally
downrange
different.
disappears without its size changing. That's literally
No,
never
that's just the
happened.
natural physics of going downrange. You know, it's going to appear that your size is
No,
getting
it's not.
smaller. You know, it looks like
But
size is getting smaller. You know.
yeah, so this is not size getting smaller. We already went over that. This is something being obscured by something else. Look, it's still there. You want to play peekaboo? Peekaboo.
I think it could easily be an optical illusion. Um, Also, did you know that in Galileo's time, his first prediction of the sun, of the si- of the distance of the sun, it was actually 3 million miles away for a long time until the early
Sure,
1900s, and then it
they
became
I
93 million miles away. I'm just
yeah,
wanting to let
maybe
you know.
that's true, but
It is true. Yeah.
Galileo lived between the 16th and 17th centuries. Their technology sucked.
I know, but I'm just saying, measurements can be wrong. You know.
Yeah, but the ones we have now aren't. We can bounce
Okay, so
radio
what
waves.
is he saying? What else is he saying? That's what do we? Because you're bringing up
People
Aristosthenes, and I'm just like, dude, you want to go up based on this shit? Okay, then you have to kind of go with that too. That he was totally wrong with his calculations of the distance of the sun.
his calculations are much more simple to make, but also
It's 90 million miles
we can
off.
do those calculations today and see that he wasn't far
If we
off.
were in 1858, you'd be calling me an idiot for saying the sun was 93 million miles away because everyone agreed it was 3 million miles away.
I
Okay,
I
so
don't know where you get the idea that everybody agreed on it.
and
Um,
everyone who was in the mainstream science community, in the
I
globe Earth,
I
in the
I would love to see
heliocentric
some
science community.
papers or something that actually
Oh,
say
there's
that.
tons.
But
Yeah, he said it was 3 to 5 million miles away. It's 90 million miles off. All of a sudden,
sure.
1940. Oh, it's 93 million miles away, actually.
So this doesn't make any sense. Science proved that something we claimed in the past was wrong before, therefore science is wrong. How is proving something wrong
I'm
prove
saying it was
that the
settled
proof
science
was wrong?
for the whole community. It was settled for a long time, about 400 years. It was settled, maybe almost 500
But
years.
your argument rests upon the idea that it has now scientifically been proven to be more accurate, therefore so
How do you know they're being accurate
your
now? Is my
argument
point.
is that the
That's my
sun
point.
is 93 million miles away.
No, my
I don't
argument is that they keep changing shit.
When was the last
That's
time
my
they
argument.
changed it?
In the 40s, when they said it's now 93 million miles away.
Okay, so it we used to have a number that was maybe 3 million, and I don't know if I really don't
Why
think that
was he
that's
so wrong, though?
if you're trying to do science in the 1600s, complex observations like that, you're going to make mistakes. It's not that
Okay, so
hard
maybe
to
we're making mistakes now, too.
it could be. What criticisms do you have of the methodologies that scientists used to calculate the distance that the sun is from Earth?
The sun looks like it's the exact same size as the moon.
That is not scientific.
It's the exact same size. It fits over the moon, fits over the sun perfectly every eclipse.
It doesn't. There are annular solar eclipses. There's actually going to be one next month that you can see from the United States. So that's wrong. But also, I asked you, You said their measurements were wrong. The science was wrong. They changed it. Okay, so we have these numbers today.
Whose side would you have
What
been on back then?
part
Would you have been on
what
Galileo's
part of
side
the
or
methodology
no?
that they employed, what part of the science do you think is incorrect? Because when you say sun and moon look
That it's
similar, that's not
bullshit.
scientific,
It's
like
pure
at all.
bullshit, man. It's pure bullshit. They're literally just pulling numbers out of their ass, dude.
Okay, your arguments are pure bullshit and you pulled them out of your ass.
No, because
There. See
they
how easy
literally
this
were
is to
90
do?
million miles off. They're the ones who were claiming it. I was never claiming what it was. I said it looks
So
close
you
and
don't even
small,
have an answer. So you just pull stuff out of your ass. See how
just
easy
like
this
they
is to
do.
do?
Just
Come
like
up with
they
some
do.
actual science. Criticize the data based on like logic and data and
Why was
observe and
everything settled that
observations
it
and
was 90,
evidence.
that it was 3 million miles away for
Yeah,
400
we
years?
were wrong about a lot of things in the
Okay, so we were
1600s.
wrong.
Yeah, in the 1600s, today we have
But
radio
we're not wrong
telescopes. We
today.
can bounce radio
No,
waves off
we're
of the
totally
sun
right
and
today.
time how long it takes for them to come back. Like your argument is nuh-uh. That's your argument.
No, I just don't believe that if someone is so wrong for so long and they try to convince you of something for so long, they can't just all of a sudden be like, "Hey, actually, it's 93 million miles." Like, what's the discrepancy between the 3 and the 93? What was so wrong about it? I can't find it. I
I
can't
don't
figure it
know how
out.
they calculated it in the 1600s. I also don't know if you're even correct
But
about
you're
that. You
quoting
may just be
Aristophanes. You're
pulling
bringing
this
up
out of your ass. I
Aristophanes.
don't know. But
No, you're
we
bringing
know
up
how it's
Aristophanes.
so
That's 2,000 years ago.
Eratosthenes didn't calculate how far away the sun is. So
But
again,
he
here's
figured
the
out
deal.
something
You're
incredible.
saying the current scientific answer is wrong, so I need to hear your what data do you have that
They're
says that
saying they
this
were
data
wrong,
is
dude. What do you
wrong?
mean? They're the ones saying they were wrong. In
No, the
1940,
data
they
we
came
have
out and said we were
today,
off by 90 million miles.
the the
That's all
da-
I'm saying to you.
yeah, and like around that same time, they
That's the people
probably
you
well,
defend. You defend them.
I don't defend people from the 1600s when they get the
You
science
just brought
wrong.
up Aristophanes from
So
2,000 years
again, I said
ago.
I don't defend them when they're wrong. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
You have a problem with the current scientific uh, answer, whatever, for how far away the sun is. What is your criticism of the data they collected? What is the alternative data? What are the other observations, the different science that you used to come up to be able to say that their number is wrong? Because if you're just going to say it's bullshit, then your argument is nuh-uh, and
They're
that's
not
not an
saying why their
argument.
number was so wrong. I'm trying to figure that out. Okay?
In the
That's what I'm trying to
1600s,
figure out.
because they had bad technology, and also I don't know what their calculation was, and so I don't know if you're even correct in this
I
assumption you're
am correct.
making.
Go look it up. It takes 2 seconds.
So what's your criticism with the current way the distance to the sun is calculated?
Because it's the same way